I get it. You've probably spent hours scrolling through glossy Amazon photos, reading the 5-star blurbs, and thinking about how perfect a Countertop Nugget ice maker would look on your kitchen counter or bar station. Then you finally click Add to Cart, only to discover the machine sits there like a decorative paperweight, churning out ice that's either too small, takes forever, or makes a racket louder than your morning coffee grinder. That gap between expectation and reality is what makes me hesitant to recommend any appliance without digging a little deeper. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and today I'm going to walk you through exactly why the Pudoily Countertop Nugget ice maker might be the one that finally bridges that gap, or why it could end up being another disappointment. First off, let's talk about the core promise. A machine that produces nugget ice fast enough to keep up with a busy office bar or a family that loves smoothies. The headline spec 15 kg in 24 hours sounds impressive, but real-world usage rarely runs a full 24-hour cycle. Most of us will be pulling a handful of ice at a time, maybe a cup or two per drink, and then letting the machine sit idle for hours. In that context, the true measure of value is how quickly the first batch comes out and how consistently the size stays within a usable range. From what I've gathered, the Pudoily unit reaches its first nuggets in about 8 minutes, which is respectable for a countertop model. Those first nuggets are soft and chewable, great for a quick cocktail or a kid's juice, but they do tend to clump together if you let them sit more than a few minutes. The dual-stream design, which pushes ice through 2 separate channels, does help keep the cubes from forming a single solid block, but you'll still need to scoop them out fairly soon after they drop into the bin. If you're the type who likes to have a supply of ice ready for a party, this machine's rapid production rate can be a real time saver. I ran a mental test. Imagine a small gathering of 10 people, each wanting a drink with a decent amount of nugget ice. You'd pull roughly 30-40 G per drink, totaling about 300,400 G. The Pudoily can handle that within 15 minutes, meaning you won't be stuck watching the ice maker like a kid waiting for a school lunch. For a daily office environment where the water cooler is constantly being refilled, having a steady trickle of soft ice can actually cut down on the need to run a larger, floor-standing unit that takes up more space and consumes more power. Now, let's consider the practical weaknesses that often get glossed over in a product page. First, the machine's footprint is about 141,215 inches, which is a decent size for a countertop item but still requires a decent amount of real estate. If you have a cramped kitchen island or a thin bar top, you'll need to clear out a few plates to make room for the unit and its water reservoir. Speaking of the reservoir, the Pudoily holds about 2.5 liters of water, enough for a few batches, but you'll find yourself refilling it more often than you might expect if you're running multiple drinks back to back. The refill process is straightforward, using a simple push-button lid, but the extra step can feel like a nuisance during a high-tempo cocktail service. Another trade-off is noise. Nugget ice makers inevitably generate a whirring sound, but the Pudoily leans on the louder side, especially when the dual streams are both active. In a quiet office lounge or a home bar where conversation is key, the sound can become a background distraction. I've heard it compared to a small dishwasher in the next room, noticeable, but not deafening. If you plan to run it overnight for a big event, you may want to consider placing it on a rubber mat to dampen vibrations. The smart touchscreen is a nice touch, no more fiddling with dials in the dark. The LCD cycles through the remaining ice count, production status, and water level, giving you a quick visual cue of where things stand. However, the display isn't backlit, so if you're pulling ice late at night, you'll need a secondary light source to see the numbers. The interface is intuitive enough that you can start a batch with a single tap, but there's no programmable timer or pause feature, meaning the machine will keep churning until the bin fills or you manually stop it. Who should buy this? If you're an office manager who wants to upgrade the water cooler experience, a small-scale bar owner who needs a consistent supply of soft ice without investing in a commercial-grade freezer, or a health-conscious family that mixes smoothies and wants the texture that only Nugget ice provides, this unit checks a lot of boxes. It's also a good fit for people who appreciate the novelty of self-serve ice without committing to a full-size ice maker that demands a dedicated line and more maintenance. On the other hand, if you're looking for a set-and-forget solution that